Did you
bookmaking.
have any people that were like either lost their bets and they're like, I want my money. I don't give. Were there any people that were like that?
Most bookmakers, if you ever talk to them, will tell you just like this.
Welcome to this episode of Chatting with Staxx. I'm your host, Bill Staxx, and today I got Tommy Stigs.
Hey, Tommy Stigs here, and I'm chatting with Staxx.
Yo.
What's up, Staxx? Nice to see you here. Nice to be here.
What's
buddy.
good with you, man? How you doing? Thank you
Just
so
busy,
much for
busy,
taking the
doing my-
time. Really appreciate it, man. You're a busy guy.
Building these channels, it's not easy. It's work, and I'm out there, so I'm doing these things and having a good time. So I'm doing well.
Yeah, it's
and you
worth
are
it.
too. I'm proud. I'm proud of what I see with you, my man. I just got to tell you that.
Thank you, man. I'm trying to persevere, keep moving, and hit the targets. That's the goal, man. Before we get started, make sure you guys hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and make sure you go check out Tommy Stigs Social Club. The link will be in the description of this video. So,
all right,
you want to tell the people where you were born and raised?
And born in Newark, New Jersey, raised in Belleville, New Jersey. It was a hotbed of organized crime back in the day, and it's about 17 minutes from Manhattan, Mulberry Street. So I'm right in that whole mix, that North Jersey area.
People love this question when I ask. So when did you figure out that it was something different going on when you were young? When was the turning point when you're like, maybe this is organized crime?
Yeah. We didn't think anything was different. You don't know it. When you grow up in a certain environment, you don't know it. You don't know anything different. It just comes natural to you, comes normal to you, everyday life. So what we grew up around was just normal stuff. Didn't know that until later on in life, almost adulthood.
What was some of the first things you kind of noticed in the neighborhood that were going on that leads you to believe that it was run by organized crime?
Later on in years, you see this one got arrested. This one's father's working on the railroad. This one's, just things like that. And you started to realize a little bit, just guys not being around, friends' fathers being away, newspapers when you're able to see them, things like that. Started to realize.
Were there bodies popping up in the neighborhood and things like that?
Not directly in our neighborhood, but in the area. That was still a time when they were doing it the old-fashioned way, taking people out. So yeah, we heard of stories and all, but not like right at the foot of our block, so to speak. You wouldn't see a body laying there. None of that. No.
Yeah, so I was checking out your the show you were doing, and you were talking about the guy that Larry Rollo's talking about, Cabert.
Yeah, Bobby Cabert. Yeah.
How was he, man? Did you have dealings with Cabert?
He was a tough guy. He was from the neighborhood. He was a tough guy. He rose up to be the Gambino boss of Jersey and one of Gotti's favorite men, one of Gotti's favorite guys. So he was on the other side of town. He had that one area. He had a social club, 2 clubs over there, 2 or 3 clubs over there. He was just a very strong presence. You knew when he was around. So tough guy.
Larry's crazy for borrowing money from that guy, huh?
Yeah. Oh my God.
And then he's like, I don't got it. I don't know what to tell you. Like,
he took him on the boat, right? Yeah, he took him on the boat.
Poured cement in the bucket with his feet in it.
Yeah, that's how Bobby was. That's why he was well regarded by the New York guys. I will tell you real quick story. When they thought everything was going bad over there, when Gotti was away, they were thinking about shifting that power to Cabert's crew until they realized the impact of Sammy. Until they realized the impact of Sammy coming here to testify and giving up more than just over there, that was the plans. Gotti held Cabert in such high regard that they were thinking about moving the power of the family to Belleville, New Jersey. And I think there's newspaper articles about that. There might be.
That's how high I'll put them on here if I can find some newspaper articles.
You should be able to find something. Yeah, possibly.
Yeah. So
wow.
You're in the neighborhood and things are, what was the early life like? Did you go hanging out with your friends when you were a young child, like say around 13, 12, 13, 14? What were you into back then?
what was going on always was a poker game going on in somebody's basement in the neighborhood. My mother had games. The neighbor had games. There was always poker games going on. There was always something going on about gambling every weekend. 2 days straight, a basement light was on, and it was just like being in a casino, basically. So my mother
People
would hope
smoking
everything,
cigars and
everything.
food
Those
and all that, right?
poker chip holders, everything. So my
Yeah.
mother used to make the sandwiches for the card games, and I used to deliver sandwiches to the tables, 9, 10 years old, and they would give me tips. We didn't know we thought it was just normal, like family being over, but it was, 5 tables of people playing poker. It was amazing, but it just came so normal to us.
A lot of
They
money
give
in
me
the
a lot.
house, right?
Yeah, well, they would cut with the poker games. You cut the pot every time there's a pot. You cut it. You cut the pot. It's crazy. It's
Did
just
they
what it
did
was.
all of the poker games in your early childhood, did they all run smoothly or was there
Never a
any
problem.
hiccups? No?
Never a problem. Nobody ever got raided. There was never an issue. Nothing ever.
No robberies, no.
Nothing.
Did anyone ever get caught cheating?
No, 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 no. Those types of things would have happened probably in a social club environment or a high level game. If it ever did happen, it typically wouldn't happen in the basement games. They
Yeah,
wouldn't do
see.
it because they
Well,
respected the people that lived around. They would never. They would never do it.
yeah, and they're
This is
all
a
a tight-knit group of friends that are just gambling with each other, right?
yeah. It's recreational and somebody's making some money on it. It's in the culture of Italian. Gambling's in the culture. So any holiday, there's always cards being played. It's just a regular thing. So they had these games. I don't know. It's crazy. Great stuff
So
though.
what was your life like going through school and things like that?
Well, I was not anywhere near being involved in it until I had to be involved in it. So my father left us, me, my mother, and my brother when I was 12, basically left us and cut us off totally. Gave my mother no money. It was my mother, me, and my brother. At 12 years old, we were struggling. Sometimes the heat was off. And so fast forward, I said, okay, there's a way for me. I gotta do something. I have to change this course, this financial course. And that's what got me starting to get a little bit involved in it.
Did you
I did it out of
ever
survival, not out of glamour.
did you have resentments for your father leaving?
I just totally cut him off in my brain, totally.
Yeah.
So, nah, no. I learned from it to be a better dad, and I'm the dad I am today because of that. So I rewrote history, didn't repeat it in that
Yeah,
aspect.
yeah.
Being
So
yeah. So
how were you getting involved? Like what did you have to do once your father's gone? Do you have to make a
well,
living to try to get money into the house to maintain the house and things?
yeah, my mother was working, always working every day, and then I always worked. I always had a little job in my a pizzeria or something. I always had a little job or something. But I think around 11th or 12th grade, maybe 12th grade, I started seeing the football slips going around and started to get a little bit involved in that. Then once I was out of high school, I wanted to be a part of this. So how am I going to make money doing this? So I ran off I made copies of football slips on my own, not getting them from anybody. I did them myself.
That's illegal as hell in
Right,
the underworld, right?
right. So
Hmm.
So I doing this and I'm doing good. I'm making a few dollars. I'm nice, wads of money as someone that never had any. But I'm making Xerox copies of like 2,000 football slips, right? The betting slips, and I'm distributing them all over the neighborhoods and everywhere. And people are betting with me. I got caught. I got called.
Tell me
Somebody
what
called me.
had walk me through. They call you, walk me
They
through
called
the
me.
situation.
Call me, and they're like, "What are you doing? You can't do this. This is not okay." What do you mean? You can't do this. This stops today. It doesn't stop today, but now you're going to get them from us. You're going to you get the tickets. You get the tickets from us. Now you got to turn them into us. Now you got to cut it with us. And they gave me a pass as far as being like a scammer. I wasn't really a scammer. I didn't know if I was really even doing anything wrong. It just came natural to me to do this. I don't know. It was a survival thing. Just came natural. So I did it. And once I got caught from the boys, that's when I started to get involved, and I had to run the tickets through them. So I had about 4,000 football slips going out a week, and you had to pay to get them printed. And each one
And
has
you're
like a serial number on it.
yeah,
So we were
and
like,
you're just out of high school at this point.
yeah, probably around 18-ish, something like that. 18.
Do you any major situations happening in your life or on the streets that you notice by this time?
So a lot happens. It's like a snowball effect. All right. You start with the betting slips. Then you start to say, all right, let's take some action. Then you get some customers. And before you know it, you got a full-fledged bookmaking business where you're an agent under a bookmaking operation. Now, just let me add, I'm convicted of this. There's no issues here. I'm not going to mention names or anything like that. Not an informant, never went bad. I went away for this stuff. So it's not, I'm just talking, we're having general conversation about how this all happens, right? So
Mm-hmm.
it rolls into being a bookmaker. So you end up getting customers, clients, whatever you want to call them, and you get a cut of what they lose. And it just rolls and rolls and rolls. And that's how you get started in it.
But
That's
that's with the
basically how
gambling side. But then
yeah,
there's the bookie side to where you're loaning money. There's loan shark
that's
side, right?
that's different. That's a whole different business. There's bookmaking and there's loan sharking.
You were doing
Book
both, right?
both. Yeah. But I was doing both. Later on, I was doing both. Not right off the not right out the gun, but right out of the gate. That comes in time. You
Yeah.
learn all these things and how everything works. You see other guys doing it. You're in a social club. You're watching how they do it, and then you end up getting involved in it. Typically, you would borrow money. Typically, you would have a guy that had faith in you and would lend you money at, say, 1 point, whatever it is, 1%. And you push it out at 2 points, 3 points, 5 points, whatever you can get for it. And that's how you make money on the low sharking. But it's totally separate from gambling. Gambling and the bookmaking and the loan sharking are two totally different things. They
Yeah.
do go hand in hand, but they are different things.
Sometimes the bookie and the loan shark and all that, they aren't the same person, right? Because they intersect with each other, and if you're borrowing money from this guy, you can't bet with this guy because then it starts to fog the lines. The lines start getting blurred, right?
Gets bad. It can get ugly. I did do it once in a while as a bookie and a loan shark, but depends. It depends. If you make it in your commission that week, you don't mind. You'll lend that money out and get points on it. It can be a little funny. It could be a little funny. There are many guys that do both, but loan sharking's a better business than bookmaking.
Now, did you
Bookmaking.
have any people that were like either lost their bets and they're like, I want my money. I don't give a shit. Were there any people that were like that?
Most bookmakers, if you ever talk to them, will tell you just like this. Here's the problem that you have with gamblers. First of all, most of them are degenerates. They're banged out. They're a mess. They're degenerates, right? So you're dealing with a class of people that are just they're just chasing a habit, basically. So the main problem for a bookmaker is when they win and win and win, and then they lose and can't pay you. That's the ones that irritate you. The ones that lose but are losing all the time, you want your money. You put the pressure. That's where you got to get the money. But you have a little more respect for somebody that comes to you and says, I'm banged out. I'm bad. Can we put this on a payment plan without going to the Shylock, without going to so you might work with somebody in that respect that, not everybody. Some guys are animals and they'll just crack your fucking head open. Then other guys are more diplomatic and they'd rather work with you because they don't want to lose your business down. You make these decisions. But when they win, and then they lose and can't come up with it, that's when a bookmaker gets irate. That's when it gets ugly. It could get ugly.
So now, have you ever been in a situation where you have to have a sit down over any of this kind of stuff? And can you walk me through a sit down for the people that don't know?
It happens all the time. People don't realize this stuff happens all the time. Now, a lot of times you're not in there. As an associate, you might not be in there. You're typically not in there. Somebody's representing you. depending on how big it is. If it's 5,000, the chances are you're not going to have a sit down. But when you get into like 20,000, 15,000, what's going to happen is the guy that lost to you is going to say, okay, my cousin, my uncle's connected to such and such. Now you got to reach out to this one, that one, and the other one. And they sit down and they're like, Stigs, can you give you 100 a week? Can I give you 50 a week? Can I give you, you know, and they do it like that. So it's sometimes it's quick, cut and dry, and you're out. I've been in situations where I got called in about somebody owing. Can we have a chat about this? A little sit down about this? And what I typically would do is let them talk it all out. Let them do all the talking and just absorb. You don't want to let them really know what you're thinking. I think that's a good way to do it. That's a good way to do everything in life. Listen first, absorb it all first, and then you could talk, because you could feel that vibe. And this is with any aspect of life. You could feel the vibe of somebody by just letting them talk a little longer, and then you say, tell me a little more. Tell me a little, and then you get the vibe. Then you know where they're at. You can read people, especially in that life. You can read people. So typically it ends diplomatic unless you're a douchebag and you are taking advantage of the people that are, that you're gambling with.
And have you seen that? People that were taking advantage?
Nah, not really. I never had to get into it that deep. Never really had to get into it that deep. I had customers. I typically had good customers that were pretty solid.
So, like around the neighborhood when you're growing up, is there the loudmouth of the bunch? You know how there's always a loudmouth in the bunch. That's a real loud, boisterous person that knows everything. You know those types, right?
Yeah, a jibber jabber. Those are the people that when they go bad down the line, you say, I knew that when we were 10. Yes, there's a lot of those guys. There's loudmouths. There's hyper guys. There's guys that fly off the handle. There's guys that are reserved, that are more capable than the guy that flies off the hook. There's all different personalities.
So New Jersey is similar to New York, right? With in aspects to the mob.
Yeah, Jersey. Yeah, Jersey. Yeah, not it's a little different. Obviously, there's 5 boroughs out there.
How many families are in?
3 of the 5 were very strong in this area, North Jersey. Gambinos were strong, Lucchese strong, Genovese strong. Bananos and Columbos, not so much. A few here and there, but it was basically the most prominent, dominant would probably be the Genovese. They're everywhere. They were everywhere. And Gambino and Lucchese, the 3 strongest over here. Some heavy hitters.
The Gambinos are the strongest in Connecticut and Massachusetts. They run the show over this way, man.
Big stuff, man. Big. Yeah.
Garbage hauling and all that.
Yeah. Everything. I don't know about now. Listen, I'd be lying if I said I knew anything about now. I don't even jaywalk today. You know what I mean? So
there will always be a mob, regardless whether, there will always be a mafia. There will always be members, just like there will always be gang members. It will continue to happen. They'll try to evolve with the time. They're never going to eradicate the whole thing and it be gone,
People have vices. There's somebody to serve that vice. And if there's money to be made, it's going to be. But today, can you imagine with all this cameras and surveillance and everything? I can't operate. Can't imagine. I wouldn't want to be doing it today. I couldn't imagine. No way.
Yeah, no way. I speak to a lot of people involved with organized crime. Some people are still in it. Like I talk to made men, and they tell me I don't even want to be involved with this stuff. Like they see the stuff going on the internet, and they're like, this whole life just makes me sick, man. And I'm like, well, I don't know the answer. Just run away from it then. I don't know what to tell them,
The best thing for a guy today is they get shelved. They're told they can't operate. You're good then. They're out. You're done.
Joe C got shelved, right?
Who?
Joe C?
I don't know.
Was it Joey C from was it the Banana family?
I don't know. But
remember the guy that got assaulted at the funeral?
Oh, yeah.
They shelved him.
Yeah. Well, look it's almost a blessing, quite honestly. I don't want to. It's not a good way to live, man. It's not a good life. It's not good. I don't recommend it.
Time growing up and your time in the streets when you're doing this bookmaking operation and all that, and you're loan sharking and doing bets. Was there any serious situations that came across your life?
You always heard this one's bad, that one's bad, this one's. Yeah, I heard things, but I didn't see much of it, to be honest with you. I wasn't involved in that aspect of things. My thing was just getting these customers, running his business, keeping my eye on the ball, and staying solid. And I never gambled to bet a dollar in my life. So this was strictly a business for me. So I was really just keeping my tabs on what I was doing and what my responsibilities were. I didn't want to get involved in anything. I just ran it, did it, and it came second nature to us. It's just like
And
doing something legal.
what
You don't
year
even
is
feel
this?
it. In 90, I got pinched in 94, 95. So early 90s. Early 90s.
How did you get
Graduated.
pinched? And can you walk me through
Yeah,
that?
100%. If you want to go right to that, we can go right to that. I can go right
Wait,
to it.
hey, if you got some stuff in between, we can go
Well,
wherever
I'll
you
tell you
want,
how
man.
brutal the life is. I'm going to tell you how brutal the life is if you want to hear one of those real quick.
Yeah, yeah.
We could talk for hours, but you don't want to do that. So we'll get a few things in here. We'll get to when I went away, and we'll do all of that, and then we'll be good. The one bad story, my own uncle. So we had a social club in Newark, in North Newark, which was a hotbed for organized crime. My uncle, we had a social club, and I ran the betting slips out of his social club. He's dead now. Anyway, so every week we were partners. Me and my uncle were partners. So I would hand in the slips. We had a strong box that we kept in an abandoned car behind the social club because if they raided the club, no gambling records on the premises. So we collected the weekly betting slips. We put them in a box, like a little box, steel box. We put them in the abandoned car behind the social club.
Who
Nobody
knew?
hits the.
Who knew
Go ahead.
about that? Who knew about the box?
Yeah. Yeah.
How
So
many? How
nobody.
many people knew?
Yeah. Only me and him.
Okay.
Only me and him. Two keys. I had it. He had it. Now, guys in the club knew there was gambling records or stuff in the car. There's other stuff. It wasn't just my book. There was other things in there too. So, so we would collect every week and lock them up. People would hand their bets in and lock them up. You know how these betting slips work. You take one side. The gambler takes the other side. There's 24 games or whatever is on there. You circle number 14 on the top and you circle number 14 on the bottom, number 12 on the top, number 12 on the bottom. We keep the official slip and there's matching numbers on it. So betting slip, Staxx has betting slips ABC. Tommy Stigs has betting slip ABC. The stub, you win, you come back with your thing and we match it up and then you win or you lose. Nobody wins. There's no way to beat the bookie. So I'm getting hit a couple of weeks in a row. I'm saying, what the fuck is going on here? 600, 700, 1,000. Who hits? Nobody hits these. It's impossible. We never lose money. All of a sudden, we're not losing, but we're dipping in. Now we're paying
Yeah.
out. Bookies don't pay out. I'm serious. It's a losing proposition. You don't win. Gamblers never win in the long run. So, and my uncle's handing the tickets in. So I'm saying to myself, something is not right here. Something is not right here. After all the betting slips were in, I went into social club in the middle of the night, opened the gates in the front. It was in Newark, not a good area. So we had gates in the front, you know what I mean? To lock it
Yeah.
like a
Yeah.
bodego does.
Yeah. Yeah. They come down over the
They lock them right.
door. Yeah.
We had the gates. So we had the gates. We had the key to the gates, key to the door, and key to the car, and the strong box. So think about this. I was going in there like a janitor with all these keys, right? 2 o'clock in the morning. So I go in there. I mark every ticket, 4,000 tickets. I marked every ticket with a marker, with a marker, with a marker. Monday morning comes around. It's time to pay the winners. We all settle up on Monday. So we're flipping them over one at a time. He brings two winning slips. He brings in two winning slips. I said, all right, let's see what's going on here. Let's get the strong box. We open up. I start flipping them over. He's like, what are you doing? I said, something isn't right here. What do you mean? What's wrong? I said, something's not right. Let's go through this. And there was other people watching. Other guys were watching. And he says, he started to get,
He's
he was a
panicking.
hyper guy. He was a leg breaker. He was a leg breaker. So he starts to go. My cousin's next to me. Everybody's watching. I said, if I'm going to find one that's not marked, if I find one that's not marked, let's see what's going. Let's just keep on going. I keep on going and I find them. And I literally thought he was going to put a bullet in my head right there, right in the social club.